live show. Got the DJI Air 2S. That's right, there's no Mavic in that name. DJI Air 2S is going to be here any day now. Super excited to get that thing out of the box, share the unboxing video, share the first flight experience, answer any potential troubleshooting challenges that may arise. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, man. DJI Air 2S. S is in Sierra. So happy Sunday, y'all. It is Sunday morning in the United States of America. So if y'all are watching, welcome aboard. And we're just going to get this show started. Again, this is just a live walk show. Basically just walking around, trying to burn some fat off and, answering any questions that y'all may have. That's my objective. So, independent YouTube channel, trying everything I can to continue to grow. With that being said, feel free to super chat. Brad says, hey, IrixGuy, just got to the park and about to fly my Air 2S. Oh, man. Not just your Air 2S, but your DJI FPV as well. They added an S. Fancy. That is fancy, man. S is in Sierra. S is in fancy. It is super fancy. So, yeah, Brad's got his Air 2S already, man. And again, if y'all haven't ordered the Air 2S yet, head on over to epicdroneshow.com. You can find it there. Brad sold his Mini 1. You know what? I think that was a wise move. With DJI Mini 2 out now, Mini 1 doesn't really serve a purpose. Morning, Jake and Maya, McKenna, and Katie. Are they there? I think that, with the DJI Mavic Mini 1, you made a smart move. You don't really need that anymore. If you want something very small, very portable, yep, McKenna, Maya, and Katie are here also. Great. But yeah, you don't need that. If you want something ultra small, ultra lightweight, get the DJI Mini 2. Brad says he currently has the Mavic 2 Zoom, Mini 2, FPV, and Air 2S. Brad, some people might call you a DJI fanboy, and that's perfectly acceptable because they have, others may try to argue, but it's pretty much obvious that DJI is the best drone manufacturer. There's some others that have tried. There's some other brands that have continued to try, but none of them have given it a really sincerely honest attempt to dethrone DJI. And that's a good thing. I mean, for prices for us, it's probably not. SoCal says, I just have the Osmo Mobile 4 now, no drone at the moment. Hey, man, SoCal says, nothing wrong with that. Drones are always easy to find and pick up. EpicDroneShow.com. Easy to find a drone. But, I'm excited to hear what Brad says. Brad's in the field with his Air 2S. Jake says, I've got a few drones too. I may need to count the names. Some are used in the military. Jim, has Parrot gave up the drone game? Great question, Jim. I've wondered the same thing. A few years ago, it's funny how time flies. Quite a few years ago, Parrot released what was called the Anafi. And in my opinion, the Anafi signaled Parrot wanting to enter the serious drone game. And it was a good drone, but it had its shortcomings. The propellers were paper thin. I can see what Parrot was trying to do with the Anafi, but they just didn't execute 100% flawlessly. Brad says, I was going to sell my 2 Zoom, but might keep as a collector's item for many years from now. Hey, you never know, man. Supply and demand, these drones, they potentially could become a collector's item. It's pretty crazy. But, Jim, I don't know, man. I think Parrot's just kind of thrown in the towel. I hate to say it, but, it's like, they're a French company, and, French, they make awesome food, man. French food is some of my favorite food. But when it comes to drones, it's like, you might be able to make a good croissant, but can you make a quality drone? They gave the Anafi, they made an honest attempt. Yeah, SoCal said GoPro had their chance, blew it big time. They haven't recovered. Yeah, GoPro will never recover from that. And you know why? And I love GoPro, but the GoPro drone experience, just from a pure public perception perspective, they failed epically. And GoPro failed epically not because their drone after release was discovered to have potential reliability issues that could, lead to potential safety issues. So the GoPro Karma drone was recalled, but GoPro never tried to recover. After this thing had been, Mike says, "Hey, Irish guy, have you done any research on FPV using a spotter to keep eyes locked on your drone?" Great question. Mike, we'll get to that. Yeah, SoCal says they went public, too many opinions in the pot. I strongly agree. And if you're not familiar with what public means, with companies, GoPro previously was a privately held company. When a company IPOs, which is called the initial public offering, when a company IPOs and then they get shareholders on board, their direction is strongly dictated by that price per share. So when you go to, turn on the news and you see GPRO, the ticker symbol, and it's up, it's green, it's down, it's red, those price per share fluctuations of the stock dictate, the direction of the company. I often wonder if the likes of Apple or Amazon will buy DJI. DJI would be an incredible buyout candidate. And, it would quickly fast track the, especially a company that has a lot of disposable cash like an Apple or an Amazon. It would quickly fast track their success in the drone space, because basically if a company bought DJI, they would own the industry leading drone technology. And then with their insane amount of disposable cash, they could really further innovate and more rapidly release drones and potentially, reduce the price or release some drone models that are more financially accessible. But yeah, I think that's a good possibility. I think Parrot, I don't know what they're doing. I've never been able to figure out that company. And my gut tells me that Parrot was just playing around. They had some technology that would enable them to, to create a good drone, a decent drone. But they never took the time or invested the resources to perfect what could have been a great drone. So, it's a shame, man. It really is a shame that Parrot hasn't pounced beyond the toys. And nothing wrong with that. If Parrot wants to remain a toy company, they've created some really cool toys. Some really cool gadgety type toys. But if you want to create tools, you're going to have to further refine the Anafi. And why haven't we seen the Parrot Anafi 2? I think Parrot was so close with the Anafi that they could have really improved it and made a better Anafi. SoCal says the only question for me is their concerns is DJI is owned by China, so an overseas company for most people. Yeah. DJI is, I think they're based out of Shenzhen, China. So, anytime that you're trying to acquire companies from abroad, there's often regulatory challenges, this, that, and the other. So, that could be a deterrent. Why we haven't seen someone like an Apple or an Amazon or a Microsoft or one of those types of companies attempt to acquire DJI. That could be driving that. And the other thing is, you got to consider this. If you're at the helm of the industry leading drone manufacturer, do you really want to sell? Do you really want to be acquired, or do you want to continue to innovate and grow your company? And part of me thinks that's what's driving China is the world leader in corporate espionage, says SoCal Seth. Yeah, see, I can't speak from personal experience with international business. I don't do a lot. I do a little bit of international business, but primarily, my ventures are United States centric. So the United States of America. So I haven't had a lot of hands-on involvement with international business. So I don't really know. That's kind of a gray area to me. And just knowing what I know about business in general would suggest, though, that there would probably be some regulatory hurdles to have to overcome if DJI did want to be acquired, and if so, the entity that was attempting to acquire DJI would be a little. SoCal says same here, but have friends that have had many issues. Yeah, it's always easier to, well, I don't want to overgeneralize, but it's typically easier, to do business in one's own country, because when you take it internationally, it gets. James says their wing was good start that didn't get improved. James talking about the wing. So if you didn't see it, and I never got one to field test, but the Parrot wing, it looked really cool. It kind of looked like an airplane wing as opposed to a quadcopter. And it never, what's funny, you mentioned the Parrot wing. I was watching, I watch really random stuff because I don't watch the news or anything like that. But I was watching some show, and it was some sort of Bigfoot show. And it was a show where they've had many, many seasons. And it was a season several years ago, and that's what they were using to search for Bigfoot, was the Parrot wing. SoCal says still waiting on an underwater drone too. Yeah, no doubt, no joke. Remember the Lily camera, Lily camera, that was canceled, and then I think some other company tried to do it, and then they diluted it. Didn't make it the Lily camera that was pumped to be, but on paper, had that drone materialized, it was one that allegedly, one could throw in the water and it would take off. Now, it wasn't an underwater drone, but it was apparently highly water resistant. I don't know. It never materialized, so that's all that, it's kind of pointless to say that. But yeah, I think what would be really good if DJI could develop a drone, and maybe it's not the main drone, but maybe the drone has a pod, let's just call it a pod, that releases from the mothership, the big drone. So if you flew your drone out, think about this. You fly your drone, visual line of sight, obviously, to be safe and responsible, but you fly it out a considerable amount of distance over the water, and then you hover with the primary drone. And after it hovers, while it's hovering, a submersible pod deploys from the drone, and it goes underwater. So if DJI released something like that, you would have something that would be able to carry this, let's just call it the submarine drone, the submersible drone, as far as line of sight would allow it to go, and then it could be submerged. And that brings up an interesting question, though. If there was a flying drone that released a submersible drone, would the pilot also have to maintain visual line of sight with the submersible drone? And I'm not sure. Y'all tell me. I don't know if. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a member of the FAA or any sort of governmental agency. But if a submarine was released from a flying drone, would that submarine have a visual line of sight requirement? If you could see the submarine being deployed from the flying drone, but then once it hit the water, would you still have to maintain visual line of sight with the submersible drone? And in my assumption, and again, this is not to be taken as any sort of legal advice or anything, my assumption is you would probably have to maintain visual line of sight while the submersible was deployed from the drone, and you would probably have to maintain visual line of sight while the submersible was, after it came back out of the water and then was reinserted into the drone to fly home. So I think that would be a really cool design. And, someone like DJI should be able to do it. And hey, DJI, if you do it, credit me. Yeah, send me something, man. Because if you do that was my idea. And I'm being kind enough to share it, but I want something out of it. So if you ever release that, be sure to credit me very heavily, because that's, I don't do things for free, man. I don't do things for free. Life's too short to give away your talent and abilities. So yeah. With that being said, let's see what we got here. Now Brad's kind of quiet. I guess he's flying his Air 2S. SoCal says, though my luck, a shark would eat it. Man, you could have a shark eat your submersible drone. You could have a Loch Ness monster eat your submersible drone. There's a lot of strange beings that live underwater that could consume a submersible drone very easily. So yeah, that's interesting. Burning some fat, man. Already burned about 120 calories, which isn't much. Brad says, hey, Irix, wish you could fly the FPV and see how fun it is. Oh, I'm sure it's a blast. See, I could never have fun with it because of the potential regulatory issues. You know, my fear with the DJI FPV is that, you know, if there was a way I could fly it, that I would get like in a ton of trouble because I flew a drone with goggles. And I just, here's the thing, even if I didn't get caught, I would still kind of be looking over my shoulder every day, you know. SoCal says, or worse, could be eaten by a politician. There you go, man. Yeah. Oh, geez. Puh. Yes, sir. Yeah, that would definitely be worse. A lot worse. So yeah, I am just this week with Air 2S coming. Can't wait to get that package from Epic Drone Show. So excited. Man, I am so excited. But yeah, Brad, I wish I could fly. You know, but really, even if James says the military has those submersible options now, I don't doubt it. And you know what? I bet, civilian use will probably follow the military. You know, a lot of that drone technology was, inevitably it was developed by the military first, and then we've seen it trickle down to recreational applications, like we have with our DJI drones. So it's it's pretty cool, man. We're gonna see what all comes out here. I think we're really, and again, not to, on this channel, I always like to stay away from regulatory topics, but it's always interesting, even though I'm not expressing an opinion one way or another, it's always interesting to mention regulatory topics just to see what people feel. Obviously for entertainment purposes only. None of this should be considered factual or anything like that. But, the thing called remote ID that is allegedly, or I guess it's probably pretty much imminent now, but the remote ID is probably going to change the way that hobbyists enjoy drones. And what I mean by that is that, if, when and if that does become effective, and when and if it does become enforceable, you're going to see a lot of additional tech that'll have to be integrated into these drones, even for hobbyists. And I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing, but anytime that government tries to overly complicate, any sort of process, or overly complicate any sort of procedure, at times it can become so overly complex that it can deter people from wanting to become involved with that industry. And my fear, and hopefully this won't happen, hopefully there will be a change of direction, or hopefully there will be a way found to more effortlessly integrate remote ID systems into drones. But my fear is that, you get so many regulations in place that for a drone manufacturer that's developing drones for people who just want to go out and have a good time and capture some high quality gimbal stabilized videos, the regulations could potentially deter even the strongest drone brands like DJI from being able to, or not being able to, but wanting to continue to create new products. And, you know, that's one of my biggest fears. And the thing about DJI, though, is that, you know, being based in China, I mean, even if their base of customers in the United States was severed, I'm assuming DJI would still have a highly profitable business if they didn't get to have the United States as a customer. It'd be a real shame if that happened, but, it's definitely a realistic possibility. So I don't know how y'all feel about remote ID, or if you think it even poses a threat to the hobby, but, feel free to comment below. Again, this is just for entertainment purposes only. You know, I don't discuss regulatory issues. I'll acknowledge that they've been mentioned, and see what people think, but I'm not any sort of authoritative figure. I just say it, talk about it for fun, entertainment purposes. But that's going to be interesting to see how remote ID might impact the hobbyist drone group of users, and that's a large group of users. I don't know. Do you think more people are interested in the drone hobby now than they were several years ago? Or do you think that a lot of people may have become bored with the hobby? Maybe a lot of people stepped away from the drone hobby because of, regulatory uncertainties. What do y'all think? I mean, do you think that this hobby is going to continue to explode? Do you think we're still in the infancy? Brad says, check out my Instagram to see my first couple photos with the Air 2S. Everybody, check out Brad's Instagram. I can't check it right now because I'm on mobile, but everybody else is watching. Go to Brad's Instagram. Brad, if you want to share your Instagram link within the comments, everybody check it out. He's got the Air 2S, and he just posted some photos from the Air 2S. Excited to see that because, as we mentioned, Air 2S has a 1-inch sensor on the camera, which should be capable of capturing a lot of detail, should be capable of better low light performance, and just a more, overall more capable drone, more capable camera system on a drone. So excited to see those, Brad. Thanks for getting out in the field and showing us what it can do, man. And again, everybody's looking for the Mavic 2, or I said Mavic. It no longer has Mavic in the name. Everybody's looking for the DJI Air 2S. Head on over to epicdroneshow.com. Click buy a drone. You can find the Air 2S, all the accessories, and all the other drones there too. So thanks in advance for that. But man, it's going to be a wild next few years with drones. James says more commercial interest. Yeah, I think James made a really good point. Anytime that regulations become more prevalent, that's a suggestion that, that things are possibly being tightened up. I mean, ultimately, we know the government's all about, making money for themselves. So, if the government can more tightly regulate a tool, in this case drones, if they can more tightly regulate and more thoroughly tax it, they'll do that. So, but I mean, the flip side of that is that if all that comes into play, that possibly, there may be some more commercial use cases open for drones, and that's a positive. I mean, dude, companies making money, that's important. Money's not free. As much as the government may have tried to mislead people recently, money's not free. You got to go out to hustle. You got to go out and hustle. You got to go out and create that wealth, because otherwise it won't exist. And if people feel otherwise, that's bad. So let's see. We got Jim. In the early days of drones, I think it was more drone enthusiasts who cared about the hobby. There's a lot more flyers now who could potentially damage the hobby. No, you're right. Those those less than responsible drone, I don't even call them drone pilots, those less than responsible drone abusers, you know, the ones that go out and purchase a drone with ill intent. You know, those people, you know, they're the ones that can that can really destroy the hobby. And again, being the drone evangelist, you know, I preach drone safety, and you know, and I encourage you to do the same. You know, be your own drone evangelist. Go out and educate people. You know, what is safe and responsible drone use. You know, tell the world how to responsibly enjoy this hobby. And if you see people that are irresponsibly using a drone, call them out on it and tell them all about it, and just sit them down and give them the hard facts, and just tell them how pathetic they are, and you know, why what they're doing is bad, and send them home crying just because you educated them so well. That's what I would do. But yeah, I mean, it is a fun hobby, and it's you know, it has the potential to become a really profitable industry, you know, if everything continues to evolve in a way that doesn't prohibit and or hamper the you know, the growth of these businesses, because you know, that's what it's about, man, is being able to leverage a tool to generate revenue. That's what it's about. You know, life's not free, and life's not cheap, and you can make it cheap. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you know, one of my things is that I always search for a coupon. You know, if I can get something at a discount, I'm going to get it at a discount, just because, you know, never accept anything for what you see stickered on it. You know, a price for whatever. Never accept that. Always question it. Always nickel and dime. And it's not saying you have to be a cheap individual, but if you're wise about all your purchases, and that's everything from a cheeseburger to a rental property, you know, if you're wise about all your purchases, you know, you can, a few bucks here, a few bucks there, a few $100 here, a few $1,000 there, that can add up over time. I know so many would-be successful business people that just throw money away. I mean, they throw it away without, you know, like, well, that's just how it is. You know, they just spend it. They don't even think about it. And they don't consider return on investment, ROI. They just throw money around like it's just not important. And that's the thing. I mean, you know, savvy business people can take a few $100 and turn it into a few $1,000. Savvy business people can take a few $100,000 and turn it into a few million in a short period of time. So, you know, whether you're working with dollars, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or multiple $1 million, you know, you can grow. You can scale a business if you know what you're doing. And you don't have to have, you know, a Harvard or Oxford education to do that. You know, you can be a guy off the street and build multi-million dollar businesses. It's not that difficult if you just put your mind to it. So, you know, for that reason, I think the drones are a critical component for companies tomorrow, and that's all different types of industries. You know, everything from delivery to the media. Oh, I hate the media, but well, let me step back from that. Not the media. Let's just say travel industry. You know, there's a lot of beaten down travel destinations that were popular, but because of, you know, 2000 or 2020 and 2021, you know, people aren't traveling, and it's really beaten down a lot of, you know, once popular travel destinations. So, you know, with that being said, commercial drone use, you know, getting out there with your company, showcasing that resort or vacation rental, showcasing it in a way that really excites people. You know, that's a great example of commercial drone use, and how drone use can bring a lot more business to your resort or to your rental property or whatever. So, and drones are powerful tools, man. They're also a lot of fun, and And that's why I'm excited, man. I'm just out here trying to burn some fat because, you know, I'm getting ready to get my I keep wanting to say Mavic, but my DJI Air 2S. So here's the problem, man. Look at this. People just throw trash on the street. Look at that. Just throwing stuff out. James says, I'm still a niche sector till a countrywide connected network can be implemented with connected. Wait a minute, my chat right there kind of. James says it's still a niche sector till a countrywide connected network can be implemented with connected regulations. That's a great way to say it. I agree. But you know, it's like most any other industry. The early adopters that get in at this phase and you know, and master the current regulations, then to your point, if something becomes more streamlined, which would bring in a lot more, potentially bring in a lot more players, those people that we're in now and in the past. Scott, welcome, Scott. Good to have you, sir. Welcome back. But yeah, those early players are the ones that are going to be the subject matter experts and potentially the ones that you know, have the bulk of the customers. And that's that is cool, man. I'm I'm experimenting. It's not just drones, but you know, this channel, obviously, IrixGuy's Adventure channel is a growing business. You know, it's not where it needs to be, but it's growing, and you know, I've really enjoyed, you know, this, and I've got a handful of other ventures that I'm concurrently operating, and I'm trying to just figure out, you know, really what sticks. Yeah, Scott says, where are you going? You can only see the road. Yeah, this is just my walk show because I'm fat and I'm trying to burn my gut off. So yeah, this is an opportunity to chat with everyone. But I will be doing a studio show shortly from the IrixGuy's Adventure channel studio. Professional lighting, green screen, excellent quality audio. This is just coming from an iPhone 12 Pro. So yeah, but I'll be doing that studio show. This is just my, hey, I'm going to burn fat and I'm going to chat about drones and regulatory issues and that sort of stuff. You know, why not? I mean, you know, and by the way, speaking to that, if anyone chooses to super chat, it's a great opportunity when I have these live shows, even these walk shows like I'm doing now. If you choose to super chat, there's that little super chat icon beside the comments window where you type your comments. You can choose to super chat, and that's a great way to support continued growth of IrixGuy's Adventure channel. Yeah, it's a fun. D. Heller, welcome aboard, sir. Welcome aboard. I got a bunch of them, man. D. Heller, I got a laundry list of drones. The one I don't have and won't get unless regulations change is the DJI FPV. Just because of, you know, to really experience it rather, like it's meant to be experienced, you'd have to wear goggles, and I don't want to go down that questionable hole, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, and D. Heller, I'll have the Air 2S, DJI Air 2S. Scott, Georgia at the moment. Love Tennessee. I do go to Tennessee a lot. Go up there to my cabin in the Smoky Mountains. I'm sure you know where that is. That's one of my favorite destinations, man. Go up there and do backpacking. And no, man, my Phantoms have flown away. I mean, not literally flown away. They were just too big and too heavy to store. You know, I got a small. You're in London. It's cold, man. London, very cool. Yeah, it's not cold here, man. It's cooler. It's about 65 degrees Fahrenheit right now, which isn't too bad. I mean, I like you know, 60s through mid 70s is about optimal for me. Get out, burn my fat, have a good time. So yeah, we're man, these drones, man, I tell you. Yeah, like I was saying, D. Heller, I've got the DJI Air 2S, It's incoming from epicdroneshow.com. So as soon as it gets here, hopefully any day now, I'll be unboxing it, taking it out in the field, and it's just going to be I have a feeling it's going to be the kill-all of drones. And like I was saying, I think if DJI releases a DJI Mini 3 or a DJI Mini 2 Pro that has a 1-inch sensor camera, I think that would be the ultimate drone, just because it's so small and so lightweight. And I would think, and I may be wrong, but I would think it should be easy for DJI to take the existing DJI Mini 2 drone and replace that camera with a 1-inch sensor camera. Because can you imagine having that on a drone that's so small, so lightweight, and USB rechargeable? I mean, that may be the reason they haven't released it, because they probably realize, hey, if we added that type of camera technology to such a small, lightweight, and affordable drone, they would probably gimp the sales of their larger and more expensive drones, like the Air 2S and the Mavic 2 Pro, and soon to be released Mavic 3. So, begs the question: have y'all heard that? And maybe it's just speculation. Inspire is discontinued. Scott, we have many restrictions in the UK since an idiot flew a drone above a main airport 2 years ago. Ugh. Yeah, they ought to prosecute that individual and not punish the entire drone-loving populace. That's my opinion, at least. And that's the problem, man. Dumb people ruin everything. I used to ride road bikes, go out instead of walking like this. I'd get out on the roads where cars go, and I'd get on a road bike, and I'd ride 30 or 40 miles in a day. And, dude, I was ripped because I exercised so much. But now, because of texting while driving, I don't even get on the road with a bike. And I seldom get on the road and walk. And when I do, I walk facing where traffic should be coming from. But even with that being the case, there's idiots that are driving on the wrong side of the road. So there's no place safe with texting while driving. It's crazy. Yeah, flying over other people's land, that is not good, because that's your place, and that is annoying when there's potential invasion of privacy. That's no fun. But with that being said, flying over public areas that have great, that offer great visuals, like a beach or mountains or something like that, that's always good. And in certain areas like that, there may be houses scattered throughout, but my opinion is that if it's a public beach and there may be houses around me, it's like, as long as you're not going up, peeping in someone's window, but if it's private property and it's yours and it's not a shared beach or a shared mountain range, yeah, I can understand. I'd be extremely upset if someone was flying over it without my permission. So yeah, I can appreciate that. Love the GoPro filming. It's incredible. Yeah, man, GoPro. I've always loved GoPro as well. I started with the Hero 2. Admittedly, I never understood when the original GoPro came out, and that was only when a few people really understood its capabilities. It's like, well, why do I want a camera that doesn't have a screen on it, that's so small? And it was, the thing that made GoPro so cool was you could attach it to almost anything, and you could capture a unique filming perspective that only a GoPro camera can capture. And GoPro's done a really good job. And maybe that's why GoPro, aside from the becoming publicly traded stock, maybe that's why GoPro so abruptly abandoned the drone. They just threw in the towel. They re-released a safety repaired drone, Karma, and then they discontinued sales after that. So I guess they sold their existing stock that was repaired, and then they threw in the towel, and GoPro just said no more drones. Makes you wonder, will GoPro ever circle back to the drone industry in the future? I don't know. I don't really know if anybody's going to be able to compete with DJI. And to y'all's point earlier, I think, you know, if some company like an Apple or a Microsoft or a Google or something like that, if they acquired DJI, if DJI wanted to be acquired, you know, I think in that situation, we may see some really cool stuff. But I think it's just going to be, everything that's drone related is just going to be dictated by DJI. I mean, you've seen these companies pop up. What were they? Let's see, there was Parrot, there was, what was that other? There was Parrot, there was Unique, Alltel, some drone, the drone with the monkeys, with the ape advertisement. That was such a great ad. They must have spent a fortune on it, but it never went anywhere. That was the drone that was allegedly the GoPro drone, but it wasn't. Yeah, Scott says Amazon's working on drones to deliver. Yeah, it makes you wonder if, you know, Amazon's testing all of these drones for delivery, if Amazon would ever enter the, you know, the hobbyist drone space. I mean, if they develop the tech, how about that? What if Amazon released an Amazon Basics drone? They want delivery in 2 hours, not in a day. Can you imagine the Amazon Basics drone? I think that could be cool. It could be really cool. And yeah, it's an interesting industry, man. It really is. But I would go eat some ghost pepper chili. Well, you know, chili with beans and meat. And then I'm going to put some ghost pepper and Carolina Reaper in it and eat that and feel really good, man. That's spicy stuff. So appreciate y'all tuning in. Again, thank y'all so much for all the comments, keeping this channel turning upwards. Share with your friends, share with your family. I want to get this channel to my next miniature milestone, which is 100,000 subscribers. You know, right now I'm right at approximately 81,000 subscribers. So to hit that initial 100,000 subscriber miniature milestone, I only need about 19,000 more subscribers. So keep them coming. Share with others. I appreciate y'all's support. And you need to do more studio shows. Yep. Hey, Brad, I may do a studio show here in about an hour. I'm going to eat my chili and take a shower, and I may do that. Epic Drone Show. Why not? Tune in. Y'all all tune in from the studio. Thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Scott. Always good to have y'all.